tell you, this is the dawn of a new century. We can do anything. The sky is the limit.
But which sky? We might go to the moon.
Oh.
How you two roll on.
Tire man.
I wonder what the next century will bring. Tom and I, we've made some changes. Things will never be the same. Huh. Tigers are in town today. Boy, I remember that 1887 Detroit team. First World Series ever. And Detroit won the championship. Tell you what, let's drive over to Bennett Field and watch the Tigers this afternoon.
Count me in, Henry. I'm ready to go.
Ah.
In August 1905, Detroit bought me from Augusta for $500 and $200 immediate delivery. So I took the train for Detroit, and I was put into the game the next day. And because Detroit was way down in the race and they had nothing to lose by putting me in there, they wanted to get a look at me. That's why they paid the $200 for immediate delivery. So I went out there, and I did fair, only fair. And then the next year I came back and I hit, I think it was 320. And of course, the following year, I led the league, the American League. And then for 8 years after that first year of leading, which made 9 years, I led it consecutively. Lost 1 year to Tris Speaker, and then led the league 3 more years.
Way down south in the hills of Georgia, down where the pine trees grow so tall, where the coon and the dog and the alligator bark, and the Georgia peaches are the sweetest of all. The Georgia peaches are the sweetest of all. Where the pine trees grow so tall, where the gals are sweetest of all. Way down south in the hills of Georgia, gonna start each day with a brand new song. Listen to the whippoorwill early in the morning. Hills of Georgia gonna be my home. Hills of Georgia gonna be my home.
He'd cut you if he was in the way, not necessarily, but if he just said that he was entitled to that bag.
Well, I got fired once. Somebody put his shoes, you know, over on one another and crossed his bats in his locker. And that day, he come in, he said, "You're fired." He told me a couple of days after to come back. Then he said, "I want you to take care of my locker and nobody else." Showed me how he wanted his glove hung up in the locker and how he wanted his bats put straight up that they wouldn't be crossed and that. He's very superstitious.
In 1960, Harry Heilman became a Tiger regular. Old Slug was a fine all-around outfielder who was elected to baseball's Hall of Fame in 1952. Heilman captured the American League batting championship on alternate years in 1921, 23, 25, and 27. And his lifetime batting average was a hefty .342.
Hello, everyone. This is Harry Heilman, your global baseball reporter.
Mr. Navin was a very peculiar, he was considered a poker face. And I remember one time we had a beautiful headshot of Navin, and I had the photographer make 4 different prints. And there was just enough shading in making the same print that they looked like they could have been different pictures. And we read them over 8 columns on across the top of the sport page and showed Navin depressed when they're behind, Navin indifferent when they're tied, and Navin jubilant when they won. And they were all the same pictures.
Yes, sir. Bill Clem called them as he saw them for 36 years. He was once asked if he ever missed a call. Did you, Bill?
No. Grim years, the 30s. A rough and terrible time. Depression was the word. Bread lines, apples on street corners.
Cochran came over there in '34. He called a meeting in New York. So it wasn't much of a speech, but all he said was, you fellas been on a second division club for a long time. You don't know how it is to win.
Cochran led the Tigers to the pennant in 1934. With the G-men Gehringer, Greenberg, and Goslin, the toughest trio in baseball at the time. On the mound, Schoolboy Rowe reeled off a record-tying 16 straight victories. Tommy Bridges, 122. And Eldon Ocker, a rookie with an underhanded delivery, recorded 15 wins. And to cap it all off, Cochran was an inspiration. He batted .320 and was named the league's most valuable player.
Thank you. The best of luck. The same to you. Lots of luck to you. You're a great fellow and a great man. Well, lots of luck to you.
Up to Greenberg. The big moose might just come through with a hit at this time. It's hard to tell. And here's the first pitch to Hank. It's a line drive single into left field. He came through that time.
Same day that the Cardinal left fielder, Joe Medwick, came sliding into Marv Owens.
Now as Medwick takes over in left field, the Detroit bleacherites are pelting him with vegetables. Boy, these fans are really boiling. Now Medwick is being called by Judge Landis. The commissioner is going to straighten things out. The conference is very brief. Frankie Frisch steps away, and he isn't looking very happy. Yes, Medwick has been told to leave the game so the Detroit fans will let the play continue. And Medwick's really sore.
Well, we had the same great team as we had in '34. We had good pitching, and we had a lot of good hitting, and I think we could have beaten most anybody.
Nearly 50,000 filed into Navin Field, anticipating a vigorous clash between these two worthy teams.
Well, everything is set for the opener of what should be a great World Series. The Tigers are all in shape and ready to go.
down daddy from Doomer, and ought to see me do me stuff. I'm clean cut fella from corner, oh, you ought to see me stuff. Oh, pretty, I was, oh, oof, and I done forgot the words. Lord, dig down daddy from Doomer, ought to see me do me stuff.
Here's the next one, and a drive out to center field for a hit. Here comes Cochran rounding second base. He's in with a run. He's in with a run. Gehringer on first base with a single. And here's the next one. And a drive. There goes one into the stand for a home run. Greenberg hits one into the left field stands. A line drive for a home run. Scoring behind Gehringer.
Forget your troubles and just get happy. You better chase all your cares away. Sing hallelujah, come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day. The sun is shining, come on, get happy. The Lord is waiting to take your hand. Shout hallelujah, come on, get happy. We're going to the promised land.
A-dink-a-dee, a-dink-a-doo, a-dink-a-dee.
Oh, what a tune for crooning.
A-dink-a-dee, a-dink-a-doo, a-dink-a-dee.
It's got the whole world spooning.
Eskimo bells up in Iceland
are ringing.
They've made their own paradise land.
Singing.
Ink, a-dink-a-dee, a-dink-a-doo, a-dink-a-dee.
Simply means ink-a-dink-a-dee, a-dink-a-doo. Folks, now here's a story about Minnie the Moocher. She was a red-hot hoochie coocher. She was the roughest, toughest rail, but Minnie had a heart as big as a hay whale. Howdy, howdy, ho. Howdy, howdy, ho. Hidey, hidey, hi. Hidey, hidey, hi. Heedy, heedy, hee. Heedy, heedy, hee. Howdy, howdy, ho. Howdy, howdy, ho. Now she messed around with a bloke named Smokey. She loved him though he was cocky. He took her down to Chinatown. He showed her how to kick the gong around. Showed her how to kick the gong around. Howdy ho, howdy ho, howdy hi, howdy hi. What a weevil, what a weevil. Howdy, howdy, ho. Howdy, howdy, ho.
Goslin single to right field is what did it.
And don't forget that we lost Greenberg in that first game against the Cubs. He broke his wrist, and we still beat the Cubs in 1935.
Well, it was my last trip with Detroit. I had no desire to sit on the bench and watch Mickey Cochran catch. And when Cochran got hit on the head, that meant that I had to stay. And I stayed for 16 years.
My mother was deadly set against me being an athlete because she thought there was too many other great things to do on the farm. She couldn't see any future in it financially. But after I got in it for 7 or 8, 10 years, she began to come my way.
Charles Leonard Gehringer of Fowlerville, Michigan. Lifetime average of .320 for 2,322 games and 19 seasons with the Detroit Tigers. An all-star team in 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, and 38.
I played with 23 different shortstops, and Rogel was probably the most outstanding.
They talk about the great Hornsby, they talk about Frankie Frisch. Some of the others had certain weaknesses, but this man had no weakness.
The 1940 club had a wonderful balance of veterans and younger guys, and we had great pitching. We had a great feeling for the game.
Play ball. The baseball game is just about to start. Play ball, play ball. The batters up, the pitchers start to wind up, wind up. Play ball, play ball. The baseball game is just about to start. Play ball, play ball. The batters up, the pitchers start to wind up, wind up.
Play ball. In the second inning, after Greenberg had singled to left, York followed with a base hit into right center field. Greenberg rounded second and then went back to the bag. Bruce Campbell then bunted down the third baseline on the first pitch, and all runners were safe when Werber's high throw pulled Eddie Juice off the bag at first. 3 men on and no one out. Pinky Higgins drove the next pitch for a line drive single through the center of the diamond, both Greenberg and York scoring. Later in the inning, Bartell singled over second, both Higgins and Sullivan scoring. Before the Tigers had been retired in the second inning, they scored 5 times to drive the big Cincinnati right-hander, Paul Derringer, from the mound. After Sullivan beat out an infield hit, Newsom sacrificed into second. And on Geringer's smash to Werber, following a low throw to first base, Sullivan scored all the way from second. With Detroit still leading 1-0 in the last half of the seventh, Frank McCormick drove Newsom's first pitch to the left field corner of the scoreboard for a double. Johnny Riffle, a star of the series, hit the next pitch out to the right field bleacher's screen for another double, scoring Frank McCormick with a run that tied the ball game up at 1-1. Jimmy Wilson was out on a sacrifice bunt, Higgins to York. That moved Riffle over to third. With 1 man out, Myers hard smashed back McCormick against the center field fence. Riffle scored following the catch. This proved to be the winning run. In the first of the ninth, the Tigers were still battling as Sullivan grounded out to McCormick unassisted. Earl Averill was sent in by manager Del Baker as a pinch hitter in place of Buck Newsom. As he grounded out to Fry, the Reds were the victors in a hard-fought ball game. This last game was the closest and most interesting game of the series. Once again, we have come to the end of a season of baseball thrills that was filled with spectacular hitting, pitching duels, and remarkable fielding plays. Come on out this season. Come out in the sunshine and let your sporting blood thrill to the crack of a bat, the slide to the base, and all the sensational plays that come with a thrilling game of baseball. We'll be seeing you at the ballpark.
a victory series it is indeed. And here in Detroit, where so many of the tools of victory were turned out, it's in the air. All Detroit wants another kind of victory today. They're out to see the Detroit Tigers, their favorite ball team, battle the Chicago Cubs in this 42nd World Series. Let's go inside. A crowd of well over 54,000 is on hand to see this colorful opening game of the 1945 Baseball Classic. Briggs Stadium, like Wrigley Field in Chicago, is one of the finest ballparks in the country. The Tigers took the lead on June 12th and held it right up to the close of the season. Fans, there's Walter O. Briggs, owner of the Detroit Tigers, and his son, Spike Briggs, looking pretty enthusiastic about the Tigers' chances. For the Tigers, Skeeter Webb, shortstop, Eddie Mayo, second base, Roger Kramer, center field, Hank Greenberg, left field, Roy Cullenbine, right field, Rudy York, first base, Jimmy Outlaw, third base, Paul Richards, catching, and Hal Newhouser, pitching.
If you had prepared 20 years ago, you wouldn't be wandering now from door to door. Why don't you do right like some other men do? Get out of here and get me some money too.
Walking with baby, she's big to beat, she's long, lean, lank, had nothing to eat, but she's my baby lover just the same. Crazy about that woman, cause Caledonia's her name. Caledonia, Caledonia, what makes you big head so hard? I love you just the same. Crazy about you, baby, cause Caledonia's your name. Caledonia, Caledonia, what makes you big head so hard?
Your green eyes with their soft lights, your eyes that promise sweet nights, bring to my soul a longing, a thirst for love divine.
Just give me the old sugar blues. Oh, play me that low down melody. Now you can have your St. Louis, your bebopping too, and you can have your hidey-hoes, but here's a tune that tickles my toes. Oh, what a strain. Just listen to the pep and rhythm in that refrain. Let me stand here with the brass section rising, cause it's a chance to do some real harmonizing when they play the sugar blues.
Don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, 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 don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me till I come home to you. Don't go walking down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, 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 don't go walking down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me till I come home to you.
Oh, give me land, lots of land under starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze and listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please, don't fence me in.
Just turn me loose, let me straddle my old saddle underneath the western sky.
Number 5, Hank Greenberg, elected to Baseball's Hall of Fame in 1956. All-Star team in 37, 38, 39, and 40.
Oh, goodbye, Mr. Ball. Goodbye, goodbye. Till the blue has met the dawn up in the sky. When Hank gets home run hit, ball, you're gonna drop a sit. Oh, goodbye, Mr. Hank. Goodbye, oh, Mr. Greenberg. Goodbye, Mr. Hank. Goodbye.
When Mr. Briggs had the ball club, we had no lighting system here, and he decided he was going to put in night baseball. And I wondered when they started working on the night baseballs who was going to be the pitcher to start that game. And after 3 years of construction, Steve O'Neill, our manager, came up to me and said, "Hal, you're selected to pitch in the first game."
Well, I was very, very happy about making the Tiger team. I'd been in the service for, a little over 3 years, and I really was wanting to get back at trying to be a Major League Baseball player, and I would have done a lot of things to get back up into the big leagues.
In the bottom of the second inning, Hoot Evers of the Detroit Tigers comes to bat. Ralph Brank of the Dodgers now pitching for the Nationals. Here it is. It's swung on by Evers. It's a line drive going deep out in the left field, and it's up in there for a home run into the left field bleachers. This is only the second time in All-Star game history that a batter has homered on his first trip to the plate in his first All-Star game. Max West of the Nationals did it in 1940, but Hoot is the first American leaguer ever to accomplish this feat.
I was here when Kell was traded from the A's. Connie Mack traded him to the Tigers for Barney McCoskey, a local boy, outfielder. George, terrific ball player, and a real fine man.
To look sharp and feel sharp too, choose the razor that is built for you.
Like practically everyone else on the team, I enjoy a fast and easy shave with my Gillette Super Speed.
Detroit traded for me, and really, it seemed like I had gone from the minor leagues to the major leagues overnight. Detroit, a historic old town with great tradition in baseball.
Let's put the slow-motion camera on George Kell, the brilliant Tiger third baseman. Most experts consider this boy the class of the league at his position. He has a great pair of hands and a strong, accurate arm.
The greatest, truest era of baseball, not just because I played there, certainly not, occurred from about 1946, right after the war, until about 1958 or 60 along in there. I think the best baseball that's ever been played.
Here the Motor City boys take their cuts at the plate. Through the years, Detroit has always had great hitters. Number 21 there is Georgie Kell, the team's best hitter last year. He batted .320 and drove in 93 runs.
Hey, we had some great ball clubs. We didn't win any pennants when I was in Detroit, but we had some great ball clubs there. I think we finished second 3 or 4 times in the time I was there. But we had great pitching. Dizzy Trout, Hal Newhouser, Fred Hutchison, people like that. We had outstanding ball players in Hoot Evers and Vic Wirtz and Johnny Groth in the outfield. We had a ball club in 1950 of the 8 guys that started and played regular every day. And boy, you played regular and you played every day for Red Roth. We had 8 guys, and 7 of the 8 guys on that ball club hit 300 that year.
The American League Cannoneers, Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, George Kell, and Lou Boudreau.
I took all of my family with me to Cooperstown when I was inducted, my children and my grandchildren. We went through the Hall of Fame the night before the ceremony. We looked at all the pictures on the wall and all the plaques, and they had mine up there. And I told him, I said, Kevin, take a good look at that. Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio, all of them. 50 years from now, when you bring your children through here, nobody will know but what I was as good a ball player as all of those. I'm in pretty select company.
Here's Big Virgil Trucks, old fire trucks. He's one of the key men on that swell Tiger pitching staff. Number 20 is Vic Wirtz, the young outfielder who has a lot of power.
Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, it's finger popping time. Finger popping time. I feel so good. Tell me, who wrote the book of love? I've got to know the answer. Was it someone from above? I wonder, who wrote the book of love? Chapter 1 says the lover, you love her with all your heart. Chapter 2, you tell her, you never, 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 ever gonna part. In chapter 3, remember the meaning of romance. In chapter 4, you break up, but you give her just one more chance. Oh, I wonder, who wrote the book of love?
You can make me cry, you can break my heart, but I'll never say we're through, even when I cry, 'cause I can't stay mad at you. No, I love you like I do. Don't know why I love you, don't know why I care. I just want your love to share. I wonder why I love you like I do. Is it because I think you love me too? I wonder why I love you like I do, like I do.
It's summertime, 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 summertime.
Well, are you coming or are you waiting? Just for folks on my one complaint. Hurry up before I say it's summertime. Well, I'm so happy that I slip. Oh, how I'd love to take a trip. I'm sorry, teacher, but stick your lip because it's summertime. It's time to get straight for the mills. It's time to live and have some thrills. Come along and have a ball, a regular or free for all. It's summertime.
It's summertime, 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 summertime. It's summertime.
I'm Tommy Ray. I'm 7. I picked the Tigers for the champs.
The decision of the board and President Spike Briggs has been not to retain me for a 2-year contract. I am very sorry, naturally, that I will not be here next year to manage the Detroit Ball Club because I think that they have a fine bunch of young ball players.
I've just kind of grown up always
liking the Tigers and admiring the organization. And when I got out of college, I was fortunate enough to get a job with the Tigers down in Thomasville, Georgia. So it's more or less been my whole life.
I know of no person more committed to the Tigers than Jim Campbell. He has given literally his life for this franchise, and that's why it's so successful.
In the mid-50s, then I came into Detroit, and it was kind of a rebuilding area. The ball club was sold first to a syndicate of 11 men, I think it was, and Mr. Fetzer was in one of those groups. And there were some managerial changes, and we were building Tiger Town.
Throughout your stay at Tiger Town, your performance has been watched with interest by Tiger Club officials and minor league managers. If you are assigned to one of the Tigers' minor league clubs, you know that your performance will be checked frequently and closely, and that players who come on fast are moved up fast.
But then Mr. Fetzer bought the other partners out in the early 60s. And I think at that point in time, we got on course and we had a program, we had certain goals we wanted to reach.
Most certainly, the opportunities to break in with our club have never been greater than they are right now. We've built and will continue to build a young, hustling, contending ball club that can give a good account of itself in any pennant race.
Tiger Town has given us a fine training facility, number one, but secondly, I think it's brought our organization together, whereby we work together during the spring, we eat together. It's a lot of camaraderie is developed here. It brings you closer to your players, to your coaches, instructors, and it's been a magnificent facility just on those aspects alone.
I remember when I was a kid, I wanted to play Major League Ball. I was naive enough to believe that if you wanted to be a big league ball player, you could, and I told everybody I was going to play in the big leagues.
I always dreamed as a kid of being a professional athlete. I think every young boy does.
I studied everything I could as a kid growing up, and I read everything I could about what the major leaguers were supposed to do in certain situations.
I looked at ball players, and they was God-given people that I knew I could play baseball, but I thought they were special people.
We played baseball at a very early age, and that's about all we had to do on this farm.
Somewhere close to cornfields, a kid with hungry eyes throws a taped and faded baseball against an ugly concrete wall. Learns the sinker and the curve, builds the iron in his nerve, and he rocks upon his perch, and his mind grows very clear. He knows his time is drawing near. The kid, he might, he could, he did. Sometime in the big leagues, his chance comes late one year, when the starter takes a fall, and there's no one else to call. He stands alone out on the mound, and he mows those batters down, and he rocks upon his perch, and his mind grows very clear. He knows his time is here. Oh, the kid, he might, he could, he did. Fame and cheers never turned his thought. He gave the crowds what they had bought, and the best he did for free. The best he did for free. Somewhere close to cornfields, a mind with hungry eyes throws a taped and faded baseball against an ugly concrete wall. He throws the sinker and the curve, builds the iron in his nerve, and he rocks upon his porch, and his mind grows very clear. He knows his time is drawing near. Oh, the kid, he might, he could, he did. He did. Oh, the kid, he might, he could, he did. Yeah, he did. Oh,
Well, I don't really ever think about how many people are listening. I usually think of maybe 2 or 3 people might be listening, and I try to talk to them on an individual basis. My father was an invalid when I was growing up. He had multiple sclerosis and didn't work for a long, long time. And I remember how much he enjoyed the ball games, and that reflects on me as I try to do my job. I try to remember him and think about how much it meant to him, whether the team that he rooted for was in last place or first place. He always looked forward to tuning in the ball game, and I just hope there are people out there that have that same feeling.
Like every other ball player that's running for a title, I kept checking the times at bat, and the closest guy to me was Elston Howard. And he was hitting 354, and I was up to about 375 in August. And I figured out that if he made 5 appearances per game the rest of the year, he couldn't qualify. You had to go to bat so many times to qualify, so I knew that he couldn't catch me. And then the next guy was, I believe, Al Kaline. He's hitting about 325, which was a great year for him, but it'd be hard for anybody to catch, to drop 50 points in the last couple. So I actually had the batting title won as early as 1st of August.
Those cheers out in left field are for Rocky Colavito, whose big bat, strong arm, and famous limbering exercises have made him a favorite of Tiger fans. With these and other Tiger stars like the fleet Billy Bruton.
We were a very good team. We had a very good year in 1961.
Well, it was a great year to go through because it was the first time I had ever been on any kind of a team that was in competition going into September. And we had a good ball club at the time, a team that scored a lot of runs with Colavito and Cash having a super year.
We had a terrible road trip late in September. We went out east and everybody we played beat us. And we went from practically a tie. We went down 8 games behind in a period of maybe a week or 10 days.
The Tigers always seemed to have a tough time, even though guys like Frank Leary were known as Yankee killers. And there was always an anti-Yankee sentiment, probably not just here in Detroit, but really anyway. And I know when I had a chance to sign with any number of clubs, the Yankees made me an offer. And there was no way, shape, or form that I was ever going to sign with the Yankees.
Yankees are the team to beat. They've had such tremendous success on the field, and it's still the big city, and when the Yankees come to town, it's an event. Everybody wants to beat them, and they're good. They're a good organization. So that's what makes competition, and that's what makes baseball a great game.
A new and winning combination of youth, speed, power, and hustle has made the Tigers solid, respected, exciting contenders in the American League pennant picture.
While the Red Sox sit in their dressing room and listen to the play-by-play broadcast in Tiger Stadium, Detroit, they won't know if they've won a pennant or not until the Tigers complete another doubleheader with the California Angels. This is the second doubleheader in 2 days for the Tigers. It's always hard to win, too, but the Tigers know they must do it. Sparma goes out. Detroit wins that game, but it doesn't end the tension. The Tigers drop the second game and heartbreakingly lose the pennant.
A pretty tough mental shock for all of us to go through to lose on the very last day.
When we came into that locker room after losing that ball game, we just stayed there for a long time. And when we went to spring training the next year, that feeling of being so close and yet so far, I think meant something to all of us. And we knew we were as good a baseball team in 1968 as anybody else in the major leagues.
But I think it finally made all of us players realize that we were a good team and probably should have won in '67. It didn't happen that way, but we were all anxious to get started in '68. And of course, all Tiger fans remember the great '68 season when the Tigers got out in front, stayed there, won the American League Championship, and then went on to become world champions.
Go get 'em, Tiger. Wow.
Swing, and there's a drive to deep right center. Stanley going after it and dives and makes a great catch. A fabulous catch by Stanley. Aparicio going back to first base. He's doubled off.
Tigers are trailing by 1 run, 4-3 behind Baltimore. Here's Magic now waiting on the full count delivery by Drabowski. Swung on this a fly ball to right. It's deep. It might be. Back is Robinson, and it is a home run. On a 2-run homer by Magic. Oh, the Tigers are out at home plate to meet him. Here he comes, and the Tigers win the ball game. Now to
1-0 pitch. Long drive to left field. Could be trouble for Boston. It's gone. Home run. Bill Freehan, his 19th home run of the year. Coming here in the top of the 11th inning. The Tigers take a 10-9 lead. The next pitch to Price is hit to deep left field. Might be, could be, it's gone! Jim Price clears the fence downstairs in left center field. His second home run of the year. The Tigers win the ball game 3-2.
Man who scored is up there now, waiting on a 3-2 pitch from John. Watch out. That one just about hit him. I think Mac's a little perturbed. He's yelling out to Tommy John. Now he goes at him, and John tackles McCauley. Here comes Pete Ward in, Mickey Stanley. Salerno's there in the middle, and both dugouts empty, and the teams are going at it. Gates Brown is out there, and now the umpires are trying to separate the combatants here, and I think the situation has been stilled. John, I believe, has hurt his arm.
That is caught. It may be a triple play. They did it. A triple play.
Denny McClain, there's never been any like Denny McClain.
September 14th, a bright, sunny Saturday afternoon. Denny McClain attempting to become the first 30-game winner in more than 30 years. It turned out to be the game of the century, as the nation forgot its worries long enough to watch Denny challenge the record of the great Dizzy Dean.
You don't expect him to keep doing it like this all year. I thought I was in a little bit of trouble, but they pulled me out again.
The pitch swung on, a ground ball to Peter. He goes to the plate. Back throw! The Tigers scores. Stanley heads for third base. The Tigers have tied this ball game. Outfield is shallow. The pitch. Fastball. Base hit. Tigers are going to win this one. Stanley scores the winning run, and McClain wins his 30th ball game of the year as Willie Horton comes up with a big base hit. In the bottom of the ninth, the Tigers scored two, and look at this celebration on the field.
It's the greatest bunch of ball players I've ever played with, and I've been saying that for 5 years. It's just been fantastic.
When Gator Brown came striding out of the dugout, the citizens of Detroit arose to show the league's leading pinch hitter how much they appreciated his record-breaking contribution. Groans echoed through the stands as Gates walked.
3 men on, 2 men out. Game tied 1-1 in the ninth inning. And the windup and the pitch. He swings a line shot, base hit, right field. The Tigers win it. Here comes Kaline to score, and it's all over. Downward singles. The Tigers mob Don. Kaline has scored. The fans are streaming on the field, and the Tigers have won their first pennant since 1945.
And we're in the Tiger clubhouse right now. There was another Tiger victory, Dick, just like all year long, coming from behind, rallying.
I think that was the greatest thing in the world, winning a game like that. We've been doing it all year long.
We've had a lot of them up here tonight, and nearly every one of them said they wanted to win it for you and Jim Campbell. That's quite a compliment. Well, I tell you, as far as I'm concerned, they're all my boys.
Everybody was fearful of what would happen in the city when the streets started heating up again. But a strange thing happened in '68. The ball team, the Tigers, came back to Detroit, and suddenly you'd stop at a corner at Woodward and Claremont, and you'd have the window down, and the Tigers would be in Boston, and Willie Horton would be up, and he'd crash one against the left field fence in Fenway Park, and you'd turn around and look at the guy in the next car, and he was cheering, and you felt a surge of excitement, and he waved to you, and you waved to him.
I hit 2 in one game in Cleveland, and it was on my son's birthday, which was even more fun for me, and I was in a horrendous slump. I wasn't even supposed to play that day, so it brought me out of the slump and really made things take off. But, you know, I struck out the first time in that game on a pitch I should have hit with the bases loaded. I could have hit 3 in that game, and, you know, you always say if I'd have done this and that. And then when I hit the third one 3 days later, I came up the next 2 innings later with the bases loaded again, and nobody out. There was no reason for me not to hit the ball, but I swung it. I would say I was a little over anxious. I swung it 2 in the dirt and then took one right down the middle. So I had a chance there to hit an awful lot of grand slams, and I hit 4 in that season and 1 in a World Series.
Quite frankly, I didn't believe Mayo Smith, and I was very nervous. But he brought me into the hotel room in Baltimore. He says, "You are going to be our shortstop in the World Series," and he says, "You might as well make up your mind."
Tigers had a team spirit and a feeling that whenever they were in the game, even if they were behind, they could come back and win it.
You are the sunshine of my life. Yeah. That's why I'll always stay around. Yeah, yeah. You are the apple of my eye. Forever you stay in my heart. I feel like this is the beginning.
Put silver wings on my son's chest. Make him one of America's best. He'll be a man they'll test one day. Have him win the Green Beret.
Only true in fairy tales, and for someone else, but not for me. Our love was out to get me. That's the way it seemed. Disappointment haunted all my dreams. Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Not a trace of doubt in my mind. I'm in love. I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried.
We had a guy on base, Lou Brock, that had been causing me all sorts of problems, stealing bases, and our ball club all sorts of problems trying to keep him off the bases. And a line drive was hit to Willie, and at that point in time, we were really struggling. The throw was outstanding. I was very surprised that Lou didn't slide.
We all did things as a team. I made the throw, but it was a combination of pre-hand, down work, Willie Horton, and the support of Mickey Stelling.
What you want, baby, I got it. What you need, you know I got it. All I'm asking is for a little respect when you come home. Just a little bit, hey, baby, just a little bit. Just a little bit, mister, just a little bit. R-E-S-P-E-C-T, find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T, take F-T-C-T. Suck it to me, suck it to me,
2 out, nobody on, no score, 7th inning, Tigers at bat. 7th game of the World Series. Now the windup and the pitch. Swing, there's a looping drive to right. It'll drop in for a single by Cash. Here's Willie Horton. Ground ball, left side, through, base hit by Horton. Cash checks in and holds it second. Now the set by Gibson, we're ready. There's a swing and a fly ball to center. Here comes Flood digging hard. He almost fell down. It's over his head for a hit. Cash is rounding third. He scores. Willie Horton rounding third. He scores. Northrop goes into third base. Detroit leads 2-0. Well, there's the one that breaks it open, Pee-wee.
Yeah, it looked like Curt Flood. He charged in on that ball. Then he saw that the ball was hit harder than he thought it was. He tried to break back. He slipped on it and then could not catch up to the ball.
Lolich fires. Ball is hit high in the air. This should be the series. Freehand waving everybody away in foul territory. Detroit wins.
I can't believe it. I knew we were going to win. Filled with money, crying money, but I don't have to use it anymore. They really socked it to him, and they knew what they were doing when they pitched Lolich against Gibson.
Couldn't be better, Al. Everything's better.
The greatest thing that ever happened to us.
It's always been a hitter's park, and I think generally the scheme of things has been to build a team around hitting more so than speed and pitching. Give me Fenway Park and Wrigley Field and Tiger Stadium. Those are the places to play ball, the good hitter's ballpark.
The left center and right center are very close in Tiger Stadium, so if you get the ball in the air, the ball carries extremely well.
And that's what turns you on as a professional athlete, that little twitch back here, that energy that would make your concentration, your learning to stay there so you can go out and perform, and that's what that ballpark do for you.
Well, 1972 being a year that I came back after my heart attack, and we got into the division championship, and not winning it, of course, was very frustrating, but on my mind, it was my first year back out of being out of baseball for a year and a half. And I think that some of the players we had that year were right at the end of their career, and Billy Martin being the manager, I don't think any other manager could have gotten what he did out of the group of players.
The ball gets away from Munson. Rodriguez comes down the line. He slides. He's saved. The game is over. The Tigers win it.
We came within a hair of being in the 1972 World Series. We won the Eastern Division Championship, and then the following year, we probably should have broken the club up. We waited maybe 1 year too long. We had to tear the ball club apart. And I don't think any man could have done a better job at that period of time than the Ralph Houck.
Well, here's another ovation for Al Kaline, the Tigers' designated hitter, going for that 3,000th hit. And to describe the action for us, here's Paul Carey.
Thank you, Ernie. Al bounced out to Belanger at short, his first time up. The pitch is swung on. There's a drive down the right field into the corner. He'll be in for a base hit. Maybe extra bases. Al is digging for second. He's in with a stand-up double. A two-base hit for Al Kaline. Hit number 3,000 in his fabulous career of 22 years.
Manager Freddie Hutchinson forgot my name, and he said, "Hey, kid, come here, grab a bat, and go hit." And I didn't have a bat, and I didn't know which one to use, so I just picked the first one I could find, and had to pick the heaviest one on the bench. It felt like, and I was facing a big guy who was having a good year for the Athletics, Harry Bird, who won 19 games that year, and he was about 6'5". And I swung at the very first pitch and hit a ball to center field, and I was never so happy to make an out or get back to the bench because I was scared to death.
Tall, skinny kid with a crew cut come up to me and asked me if he could have my number. You know, players have nothing to do with their numbers, so I went to Hutch, who was the manager of the club, and told him the kid wants my number. He okayed it, and the rest was history. Al, you served the uniform well.
But it was one of those things that happened, one of those great years that some players go through that seemed like everything I did was right. At that time, I could run real well, and I beat out a lot of infield hits. And, of course, then I was able to get the lucky hits to go with it. But it was a great year, and one that put an awful lot of pressure on me throughout my career in Detroit, because winning the batting title, become the youngest person ever to win a batting title, put a lot of pressure on me.
To carry the mantle of superstar in baseball, a gentleman recognizes his responsibilities toward the millions of young Americans that literally worship the ground on which he walks. Al Kaline never for a moment has failed to recognize this relationship with the nation's young.
A long belt by Kaline. This one is gone. Out of here.
When I was a youngster, life was a baseball game. There was nothing more exciting than a good old game of ball. I played a lot of ball games growing up in Baltimore, every day from spring to fall. I never would have had that chance to prepare for a career every boy dreams of without the love and hard work of two people, my mom and dad.
I've been told this by a lot of people, that the way I conduct myself off the field is inspiration to a lot of people. That's the way I was raised. That's the way my parents wanted me to be, and that's the way I tried to please my parents at a very early age, and that's the way I conducted myself on and off the field.
I really think it's the melting pot, the sports in this country, and it does away with all of the racism and separatism that we have. It's the one area of unification that I think is above reproach.
Shot, sets, and pitches, and Willie swings a long fly ball to left. Maybe it's gone. A home run for Willie.
When I got traded from the Tigers, I guess Willie Horton cried almost every night.
It's the start of summer and the start of a new life cycle in our community. The Tigers always have a full house for opening day.
The ups and downs of the city of Detroit, the state of Michigan, all of the things that they've been through, and yet it seems to me it's not the Lions, it's not the Pistons, it's not anything else, it's the Tigers that is the glue that holds this city together.
It's not only Detroit, but it's all of Michigan. As I go out state, I find a tremendous interest in the Tigers wherever you go. And the Tigers belong not only to the city of Detroit, but to everybody in Michigan.
You're talking to yourself. It was a way to, I couldn't talk just by staying inside my mind. I had to go through these things to relax, and then it got me involved in the game. If I didn't do it, I would be like in a classroom, start daydreaming. I could start daydreaming. This kept me involved. Who's coming up next? What's going on? You know, what kind of trouble are you in? Are you in trouble? Let's not get into trouble. These are things, you know, where'd the ball go? I mean, where was your release point? I mean, all these things, I just kept on talking to myself, and by the time the ninth inning came around, you had it all gelled together, and things were going smooth. If you weren't there in the ninth, you knew that things weren't smooth, and you were out of the game.
If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? 'Cause I'm as free as a bird now, and this bird you cannot change. Oh, and the bird you cannot change. And this bird you cannot change. Lord knows I can't change.
Proud enough
The Tigers signed me in 1974. It was a blessing for Mark Fidrych. And then when they let me pitch at Tiger Stadium, it was a rewarding thing for Mark Fidrych. And then when I left Tiger Stadium, it was just a lot of memories. And when I left, it was unbelievable.
I think I've known about the Detroit franchise ever since I got in baseball, and I've known about Jim Campbell for so many years. I'll be very honest with you. In the last 35 years, I would say the Detroit organization is Jim Campbell's, because he is the one that got this thing on such an even keel and has been so patient with everything.
Ground ball to third. Could be a triple play. It 3. Watch this. A triple play. They turned it over.
Well, every league in baseball has the DH, but the National League, and that includes high schools, colleges, and all the minor leagues that have the DH. I think it's part of the game itself now.
I don't like the DH and never will.
Playing in Detroit is definitely different than playing in San Diego in April or May. I'm more or less a warm weather person. That's why I usually go back to San Diego during the off season, and it takes a little adjustment to get used to that cold weather.
Everything snowballed from there. I picked up fairly quickly on it, and I had an All-American season. I was first team All-American at Michigan State, and an opportunity arisen for me to come and play with the Detroit Tigers and be their first-round draft pick, and of course, being from Michigan, that was kind of a lifelong dream, I guess, of mine when I was a young kid coming to Tiger baseball games on bat day on my birthday.
The Detroit fans are really the greatest that I've ever been around. I've been in most major league ballparks. This is a tremendous city. There isn't a place you can go in that city that people don't talk baseball, winter or summer. It had been a long time since the last World Championship, and the people were certainly ready for it. They knew that the team was starting to move along.
You do have a moment of sadness with it. On the other hand, at my age and at the time when I feel as if the ball club is solidly organized, we have a good rapport all the way from the field through the front office. We have a good depth in our principal executives. We're solidly run. And it's now a time for the old soldier to start to fade away, so to speak.
Selling more pizzas than anybody in the world, winning more games than any other team in baseball, and going to heaven when I die.
It's a fly ball, hit the right, it might be. Going way back, and it is out of here. A 3-run homer by Evans. And the Tigers have an 8-1 lead. Evans hit one deep to right field to score 3 runs on one big blow here in the 7th inning.
Working up the set position now. He goes to his set. Kittle waits. Here it comes. He struck him out, and Morris has a no-hitter. Lance Parrish goes out and grabs him, and the Tigers get a no-hit performance for the first time since 1958 when Jim Bunning did it.
There's a swing and a fly ball. Left field going back his order at the fence, and he won't get it. It's a grand slam for Alan Trammell. And the Tigers have the lead, 5-2. Here's Gibson charging to be play at the plate, the throw to Parrish, and he is out at the plate. Out at the plate. Sorensen delivers. Here's a swing and a high fly ball deep left, and that is long gone. It is a grand slam for Lance Parrish.
1984 was just an unbelievable season. It's probably something that I'll never get an opportunity to experience again in my playing career. To go 35-5 at the beginning of the season is just something that is beyond comprehension as far as I'm concerned. I sat down a few times while we were in the midst of doing that and saying to myself, I can't believe that we're actually playing against Major League ball clubs.
I don't know who, in the back of their minds was hoping that the Tigers would slip, but this is something I didn't want to happen. It was, you only get a year that things like this happen.
That year was a childhood dream of everybody on our team at that time because it was just too good to be true. We led from start to finish, which is an unheard of thing to happen in the major leagues, let alone the American League East. And the pressure was really more on us all through the year than if the race was closer because everybody was shooting at us. Everybody was waiting for us to falter.
In 1984, that was a dream coming true.
Everybody was around our clubhouse, and it was one of those years that everybody thought we had it won by June 1st. Now, I've seen too many times where this can disappear on you, and I would say that 84 of all my years was the one that I thought was the toughest on me. All the ability in the world is not going to continue to keep winning. Ability comes first, but then you must have character. We've got a good young ball club right now. I think we've got good talent, experienced, and I think these fellas on this ball club know how much fun it is to win.
Thurman works off the first base side of the slab. He winds, he pitches. There's a swing and a fly ball to center field. Brown going back, it's deep, and he won't get it. It's off the wall. Whitaker going for two, and he has a lead-off double. He hit the ball to deep left center. The pitch. Swung on. There's a line drive to left. It'll be in for a hit. Here comes Whitaker around third. He's being waved to the plate. Here's a throw. Not in time.
Swung on. A fly ball. Deep right field. Going back is Gwynn. He's at the track. He's looking. It's gone. A two-run homer by Larry Herndon. And the Tigers take a 3-2 lead here in the fifth inning over San Diego.
Here's the pitch on the way. Swung on. A bounding ball to right. Base hit. Down in the bullpen. Chased by Gibson. Babakwa going for two. Gibson picks up the ball in the corner. Babakwa headed for three. Here's the throw by Whitaker to Castillo. He's out at third. Templeton waiting on a 2-2 pitch. Swing and a ground ball to first base. Bergman has it, makes the play unassisted. The Tigers have won the first game of the World Series.
Two former minor league teammates who went on to great managing careers greet before Game 3. First ball honors this night belong to Venerable John Fetzer, former owner and now chairman of the Tiger team.
Marty swings, long belt to left. That one is gone. A home run, a 2-0 lead for the Tigers in the second inning. Trammell swings as a line drive hit to left field. Down in the corner, chased down by Martinez. Here's Whitaker rounding third. He's being waved home. Here's a relay by Templeton. Not in time. The ball gets by Kennedy. He's backed up by Lawler. Trammell holds it second. The Tigers lead 3-0. Here it comes. He swings as a fly ball to center. Lemon going back, still back, reaches, makes the catch. Here's the pitch. He swings. There's a drive to left. It's deep. It is way back, and it is gone. A two-run homer A 2-0 lead for the Tigers in the first inning. Shaw ready, kicks and deals. Here's a swing, and there's another drive to left. It's deep, and this one is gone. The second home run by Trammell. And the Tigers now lead it 4-1. Whitaker scores. Here comes Trammell running home his second consecutive home run. 2 out of the ninth inning. Tigers lead it 4-2. Here's the windup, and here's the pitch, and he swings as a drive to right. Gibson there. He's got it. The Tigers win it. And they take the series lead to 3 victories to 1. There's a swing and a low one. It's gone. A home run by Gibson. Upstairs, 2-0 Tigers in the first inning.
One out in the Tiger fifth inning, game tied 3-3. The pitch to Rusty. He swings and pops it up. Short right field. That's not going to bring anybody in. Out goes Wiggins. The second baseman makes the catch. Gibson's coming home. Here's the throw, and it's not in time. Oh, he fooled him.
He swings as a drive to left. It's deep. Martinez going back. He leaps. He won't get it. It is a home run for Parrish, and the Tigers have a 5-3 lead.
We don't want to walk you. Yeah, we don't want to walk you.
And what we have here today is the greatest baseball team in the world.
And I think it's going to get bigger and greater.
The Detroit and Michigan fans are the greatest fans in the United States.
As far as I'm concerned, there's none any better.
Anybody that plays for the Detroit Tigers, if they know anything about baseball at all, know that the fans of Detroit are great, and they just want to be not only fans of the players, but also considered friends of the players.
They had Briggs there as an owner, and then Mr. Fetcher for 30-some years, and now Mr. Monahan. All these people are very family-oriented.
There's something about the Detroit Tigers in Detroit that's inseparable. And I don't know what it is. It's just there's so many of us for so many years that have lived and died with the Tigers.
You see the grandfather and then the father and then the grandson all coming out and the granddaughter coming out to see the game.
During the celebration, everybody all had a common thing. They had forgotten about all the negative parts, negative things in life. We all pulled together. We are all happy together.
It's a dream for me to be able to start and finish my career with the Tigers.
Hope one day I'm back in that Tiger uniform because, you know, as they said, Willie, that's where you belong. That's where I know I belong, and it'll be part of Willie Horton life until I pass away.
1 ball and 2 strikes, and after Page gets Eavis to miss that high fastball, about letter high. It was over, though. He wants to put the pressure on Eavis, and he takes out his handkerchief. He's ready now, turning, stepping onto the rubber. Wirtz is on second base, and now he backs off the rubber again. He's putting pressure on Hoot up there. He's relaxed while Eavis is not. He has to be ready with 2 strikes. 1 ball and a throw. Coming here to Hoot Eavis. Eavis swings. A long fly ball, 2 strikes center field. The Michael's going right back there, and he can't get it. And he can't get it. The ball game is tied up. Eavis is rounding second, going over to third. It's going to be a triple for Hoot Eavis. The ball game is tied. Here comes Eavis home. Eavis comes home. The ball game is over. The ball game is over, and Detroit wins it. Detroit wins the wildest ball game, and the Detroit Tigers are mobbing Hoot Eavis.
And Brown waits. The pitch. Swung on a bounding ball to first base. It's through for base hit. The Tigers win the ball game. And the Tigers creep out of the dugout. Bob Gates, Brown, and this crowd is going berserk as the Tigers win the doubleheader, getting the second game with a rally of 4 runs in the 9th inning to win it by a score of 6-5.
Around a situation in the bottom of the 9th, a scoreless ball game. What a 9th inning. Northrop robbing the Yankees out in center field in the top of the 9th. Now the Yankees with their backs right up against the wall. Stottlemyre goes to the belt. The pitch to Horton. He swings.
Bases empty. The 2-1 pitch to Gibson. There's a belt to left. That's gone. Let's watch it. Where is it? Is it out of the park? Yes. It's out of Tiger Stadium. Kirk Gibson has done it. He got it over the roof in right field, over the third deck, out of this ballpark.
JoJo White on as a result of a single out to left field. Charlie Root steps in on the mound. He's getting a signal from Gabby Hartnett. There's another throw to first. Quick one that time, but White was back. This boy White is plenty fast on the bases. Count is 1-1. Is it on the mound? We're in the last half of the first inning in this ball game, the second game of the 1935 series. And here's the next pitch, and a drive down the first baseline over first, going clear down to the stand. White is rounding second base. Here he comes to third, and Cochran pulls up at second with a double. Here comes the play, and White scores.
Set by Lopez. The pitch swung on, hit in the air, deep center. Going back, Lemon may be trouble. He's at the wall. He leaps, and he makes the catch. A great catch by Lemon. The ball game's over. And the Tigers rush on the field. And what a victory for the Tigers. Great defensive plays. High fives all over the place. They're running all the way out to the outfield, and they're mobbing Chet Lemon.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to Billy Tuttle. Curveball hit on the line out in the right field. That drops in front of Walls for a base hit. So Detroit picks up their second hit of the ball game.
1 strike on Wirtz. And Rashi. Here's another one to Wirtz. And there's a hard hit ball. That's a big hit in the right field. Wakefield is rounding third base. Coming in, it's still coming into the plate. It's going to be close to the plate. Wakefield is safe at home. And the Tigers take the lead. It's Detroit 5, New York 4. As pinch hitter Vic Wirtz comes through with another pinch hit. It was a line drive past George McQueen into right field. Paul, what is it you want to say? Come on.
I just want to say that kid Wirtz has done a wonderful job pinch hitting for our ball club. I think he's only missed 1 time.
I know he has. He's been coming through nearly every time that Steve has asked him.
22 years old. I think he has a wonderful future, Harry.
22 years old. Bridges steps in on the mound. Galan gets the lead. Here's the pitch. And a ground ball going back to Bridges. Bridges turns, throws down to Rogel at second. Rogel to Greenberg, and it's a double play.
Here's the set on the mound by Lundberg. He delivers. Here's a long belt to left, and it will be a home run for Kaline. And the Tigers lead 2-0. Now hits one in the screen. Number 7 for Kaline. Now the 2-0 pitch. Long drive to right field, backing up the Hills, and it's gone. Home run.
Here's a pitch. Motley swings. There's a pop foul off a third. It may be the pennant. Castillo has it, and the Tigers have won the American League pennant.